So till now, what we studied was chemistry of polymers. Why we studied chemistry of polymer? Because the topic we're going to study, that is acrylic resin, commonly we call as acrylic resin, or it's called denture-based resin, or just resin. Resins are polymer that undergo additional polymerization reaction. So the chemistry of resin is already, we have already discussed about that. So we'll be dealing what is denture-based resin, what are the uses of it, its mechanical properties, physical properties, how you manipulate, how you process, everything we are going to discuss now. So the uses of denture-based resin. Okay, see, most of you must have seen a complete denture, right? This is a complete denture. The teeth and the denture base are made up of acrylic resin. Okay, this is removable partial denture. When the patient does not have any tooth or teeth in the mouth, you are supposed to provide complete denture. When the patient is partially edentulous, that means the patient have lost few teeth, whereas few teeth are still present in patient's mouth. It's called removable partial denture. Okay, so removable partial denture are also made up of denture-based resins. Okay, different types of denture-based resins. These are artificial teeth or acrylic teeth. Another thing you encounter when you fabricate complete denture is the fabrication of special tray and temporary denture base. I think temporary denture base we have already made, that are also made up of denture-based resin. Okay, and this is a prosthesis where a crown, this is a bridge where the labial surface or the facing surface is laminated or built up with acrylic resin. This is a kind of obturator. When there is some kind of maxillofacial defects, also we make a prosthesis that is called obturator and is also made up of denture-based resin. So the requirements of denture-based polymers, okay, requirements meaning what all properties should it have, okay. These are not the qualities that denture-based resin has. These are the qualities that are wished or that are supposed to be incorporated in a material that is going to be used as a denture-based polymers, okay, like physical properties, biological properties, mechanical and chemical. In physical, what all properties do you expect to have? It should have a matching natural appearance. Okay. So our denture-based resin, where we have seen a complete denture, the denture base is, the color of the denture base is pink and the color of the teeth are white, because our gums are pink in color and teeth are white in color. So the denture-based resin actually do not have any color. Okay, it does not have any color. It's transparent liquid. But you can add colors to it so that it will be more aesthetic and it will match with the patient's mouth. So yes, it does match the natural appearance, because we can give any color to the denture base according to the wish. So the area where gums are to be present, those are pink in color and teeth are white. Good dimensional stability. It should not change its shape and size. Okay, it should be accurate. It should not change its size. That's why it should be dimensionally, it should be stable. Low specific gravity. If you know what is specific gravity, I think you know that, right? If you compare between the specific gravity of wood and a metal, suppose it's a gold, whose specific gravity would be more? Metal or wood? Metal or wood? Obviously, metal will have more specific gravity. As given an example so that it will be clear to you. Okay, so if the some material has high specific gravity, even if the volume is less, the weight would be more. Whereas if the specific gravity is less, it's vice versa. So we do not want our denser base material to have high specific gravity, because we are going to place this in patient's mouth. The patient would not keep away. Archana, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
How,
So I think someone mistakenly did that.
I didn't hear you clearly.
I think someone mistakenly did that on the screen.
I think there is a hacker in this group, right? Somebody has entered. I think it's hacked
Yes,
because
there are no any outsiders, sir. I think someone pressed that icon mistakenly.
Are you sure? Because our device will be corrupted if some hackers have entered this room. You know, can you go through all the names? They're all non-names. Is there somebody who is not supposed to be here?
No, sir, there is no any outsider.
Okay, we'll just continue with that. I don't know how that came. Okay, the material should have low specific gravity. It should have high thermal conductivity. Why it should? What do you mean by high thermal conductivity? That means it should let the heat pass easily through it. Okay, if the denser base material is not highly conductible to heat, thermal energy, what will happen is the patient will not know. All the gums will be covered with the denser base material. The patient will not know the temperature of the food they are going to have. Suppose we cannot have a boiling water, it will feel hot. Okay, but if the thermal conductivity of the material is less, the patient will not know whether the patient is having very high hot food or cold food. The patient should know the temperature of the food they're going to have. That's why it should have high thermal conductivity. Biological requirement, it should be not toxic, it should not be toxic, must not sustain the growth of organisms like fungi and bacteria. Okay. It should have high value of modulus of elasticity. We do not want it to break. If it has high modulus of elasticity, it will not break. High value of elastic limit, same thing. Should have sufficient flexural strength. It should be good enough to get flexured. Base material should have adequate fatigue life. Should have high impact strength. What is high impact strength? If it falls unintentionally or accidentally, it should not break. It should be able to observe the impact when it is dropped. Should be abrasion resistant. It should not get abraded easily. Chemical requirement, it should be inert. It should not get contaminated. It should not get reacted with the oral fluids or any kind of fluid or food the patient consumes. So these are the requirements of a denser base material. These are the properties which we wish to have in a denser base material. And our material, that is our acrylic resin, fulfills most of these requirements. May not be all, but tries to fulfill all the requirement. let's go to the classification of denser base resin. Only denser base material is not only of one type. It can be of different types. There are different types of acrylic resin available in the market. Okay, type 1, class 1 is heat processing polymers, that is heat cure acrylic resin. Other name for heat processing polymer is, it's called heat cure acrylic resin. Type 1, class 2, it is also heat processed, but it's present in plastic and cake form. Usually we get it in powder and liquid. That is type 1, class 1 type. Another type is type 2, class 1. Okay, type 2, class 1 is auto-polymerized polymer, the one which you have already used. Okay, that is your type 2, class 1 type of denser base resin. That's called auto-polymerized polymers. Other name for it is self-cure acrylic resin. It can also be called as chemically cured acrylic resin. It can also be called as cold cure acrylic resin. Okay, if it is available in powder and liquid in a pouring type of material, it's class 2. The normal one which we get in powder and liquid form is class 1. Another type is type 3. It does not have class. Type 3 is thermoplastic material. Thermoplastic material means when heat is applied to it, it becomes plastic, it becomes soft. Okay. Type 4 is light activated material, and type 5 is microwave cured material. See the difference between type 1, 2, 3, and 4 and 5. Okay. Number 1 is heat. Number 2 is chemically cured. Number 3 is thermoplastic. 4 is light. 5 is microwave. Okay. These are classified according to the activator present on it, or the activator that we should provide to it. It is based on the activator. Okay. Type 1 has a heat as an activator. Type 2 has a chemical, another chemical which will break down the benzoyl peroxide initiator and create free radicals. Thermoplastic material, the mechanism is different, a little bit different. It is when the heat is applied, it becomes plastic. Type 4, where the light is an activator, and type 5, where the microwave is an activator. So we'll go serially. Okay. So another way of classifying is according to the method of polymerization. Simple classification would be chemically cured or auto cured, where there is chemical, another chemical as an activator, heat cured or light cured. Other way of classifying is according to the curing method. Okay, curing means starting of polymerization. Okay, according to the molding technique, it can be compression mold technique, it can be injection mold technique, sprinkle-on technique, DAW technique, or fluid resin technique, which we'll be discussing each in detail later. I think we have already seen the demonstration how to manipulate or mold with sprinkle-on technique and DAW technique. Okay, have you made temporary denser base already? Have you started this exercise, preclinical exercise?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you must have seen the demonstration for DAW technique and sprinkle-on technique, and you're using sprinkle-on technique, right? Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it can also be classified according to the molding technique. Now let's go to heat activated or thermopolymerizable resins, that is type 1. Okay, type 1 type of denser base resin. We'll be discussing about this. So these materials are used in fabrication of nearly all denser bases. Okay, your temporary denser base are made up of chemically cured, but the definitive, you cannot say permanent, you can call it as definitive processes are usually made up of heat activated resins or thermopolymerizable resins. Okay, so the composition of it usually have powder and liquid. Type 1 class 1 has powder and liquid, and type 1 class 2 has cake, is provided in cake form. Okay, let's discuss about powder and liquid form. In a powder, what do you have? Okay, you have bead or granules of pre-polymerized polymethyl methacrylate. Okay, pre-polymerized. I'll tell you why it's pre-polymerized later. Number one composition would be in powder you have PMMA, that is polymethyl methacrylate. You are familiar with the term methyl methacrylate. Okay, we took an example of methacrylate initially to study the addition polymerization reaction. Another composition is benzoyl peroxide. I think again we have heard this term benzoyl peroxide, that is the initiator which gets broken down to produce free radicals. Dibutyl phthalate, that is plasticizer to produce a less brittle polymer. You should know the function of plasticizer. Okay, these terms you should know. What is plasticizer? It makes the material more plastic so that it will just opposite of brittleness. To reduce the brittleness, we add dibutyl phthalate. Then pigments of salts of iron, cadmium, or organic dyes, which give the natural tissue-like appearance to the denser base for aesthetic purpose. Synthetic fibers or simulate blood vessels of the oral mucosa. Again, this is also for aesthetic purpose. Bismuth salt is also added so that it acts as an opacifier to be seen in X-ray if swallowed. What is opacifier? Something which is opaque. Okay. Sometimes what happens is our denser base, the patient have a tendency to swallow it by accident. Okay. If it goes to the stomach, the operator will not know where our denser base is. So to make it visible in an X-ray, some opacifier has to be added, and that is our bismuth salts. Again, it has powder and liquid. In powder, what all composition is there? We already discussed. Now coming to the liquid. Liquid has methyl methacrylate monomers. Okay, the liquid has monomer, that is methyl methacrylate, and the powder has polymer, that is polymethyl methacrylate. That's why in daily using term we can also call liquid as monomer and powder as polymer. We call it powder. We do not call it powder. We call it polymer, and liquid we call it as monomer, because liquid has a monomer and powder has polymer. Hydroquinone is also added to it, which acts as an inhibitor, and we already discussed why inhibitor is added. Liquid also consists of cross-linking agent, that is glycol dimethacrylate, to improve the mechanical properties and increase the resistance of the denser base to undergo crazing. What is crazing? That is one of the defect which we will be discussing later in the last. Okay, cross-linking agents, what does it do is, there are polymer chains, long polymer chains in a polymethyl methacrylate polymer. If two chains get attached to each other, it becomes more strong, and this is called cross-linking agent. An example is glycol dimethacrylate. So heat cure acrylic resin, how it gets activated? See, there is an initiator, that is called benzoyl peroxide, which gets activated with the help of heat. Okay, heat is an activator, and it breakdowns the initiator into free radicals. This is the mechanism which we already discussed. So what is polymethyl methacrylate? None of the material described earlier provided the unique combination of physical and aesthetic properties exhibited by polymethyl methacrylate. Polymethyl methacrylate provided enhanced physical properties, readily available, inexpensive, and easily manipulated. As a result, PMMA has dominated the denser base arena for more than 50 years and still is dominating this field. Okay. By 1946, 98% of all denser bases were constructed from methyl methacrylate, and maybe the percentage is rising still. So this is the most commonly used material in our dentistry to fabricate a denser base. Polymethyl methacrylate, it is transparent liquid. It does not have any color. Okay, color pigments are added later. Whether we want pink or white, blue, green, we can add the color and get the desired physical property. Do not discolor in ultraviolet light and exhibit remarkable aging properties. Chemically stable to heat and softens at 125 degrees centigrade and can be molded as a thermoplastic material. So it is chemically very stable. It do not get reacted to most of the chemicals, at least the chemical or the food that is being consumed by the patient. It does not get softened before 125 degrees centigrade. That is more than enough, because no one is going to have food that is greater than 100 degrees centigrade. Okay. Manufacturers add opacifiers and pigments in order to produce a more lifelike denser base for aesthetics. Methyl methacrylate, it is a transparent liquid at room temperature with molecular weight of 100 and boiling point of 100.8 degrees centigrade, almost same as our water. The boiling point of methyl methacrylate monomer and boiling point of water is almost similar, that is 100.8 degrees centigrade. It exhibits high vapor pressure and is excellent. It exhibits high vapor pressure and is excellent organic solvent. Polymerized initiated by visible light, UV light, heat, etc. It can be activated by anything. These are some physical mechanical properties of polymethyl methacrylate. Okay, polymerization shrinkage of heat cure acrylic resin. Polymerization shrinkage is 6%. Polymerization shrinkage linear is 0.2 to 0.5%. We'll discuss this in detail later. Okay, what is polymerization shrinkage? For now, just know the name, number and name. Compressive strength of 76 megapascals, tensile strength of 55, new hardness of 15 to 18 kg per millimeter square. It is biocompatible. Thermal conductivity is quite poor. Actually, we need highly thermal conductive material, but the thermal conductivity is less. Wear resistance is fair. Fatigue resistance is good. Impact resistance is quite poor. Now, polymerization reaction. I don't think we need to discuss the polymerization reaction in detail. We'll just go through it in short, okay, because we have already the same thing which we discussed last time. Chemical reaction, Addison polymerization is same. That is what happens here, and it's an exothermic reaction. I told you why it's exothermic reaction, because there's so much of reaction take place in a fraction of second, so the molecule moves very fast. As a result, byproduct it evolves heat. That's why it's called exothermic reaction. So Addison polymerization reaction, it has induction. Okay, in induction, let's see what happens. It has activation and initiation stages. Polymerization to begin, source of free radicals required. Free radicals generated by activation of radical producing molecules, that is initiator. I think you are familiar with these terms already. When heated above 60 degrees centigrade, because we're talking about heat cured acrylic resin, okay? When heated above 60 degrees centigrade, molecules of benzoyl peroxide decompose to yield electrically neutral species containing unpaired electrons. These species are termed as free radicals. So when we apply heat, how do we apply heat? We use boiling water, we heat the water, okay? Water in some special unit where the temperature is maintained around 60 degrees centigrade. Actually, it's 67 degrees centigrade. When there is enough heat, that is around 60 degrees centigrade, what happens is benzoyl peroxide decomposes, breaks down into two free radicals, and induction takes place. When free radical and its unpaired electron approach a monomer with its high electron density double bond, an electron is extracted and it pairs with free radical electron to form a bond between radical and monomer molecule, leaving other electron of double bond unpaired. Thus, original free radical bonds to one side of monomer molecule and form new free radical site at another end. So, if you have understood addition polymerization reaction, you can easily grab this. Okay. Second thing, what happens is propagation. Resulting free radical monomer complex then acts as new free radical center. It opposes another monomer to form dimer, which also becomes a free radical. This reactive species can add successively large number of monomer molecules so that polymerized process continues through propagation of reactive center. Now, third stage, the active free radical of growing gene is transferred to another molecule and new free radical for further growth is created and then takes place termination by these three ways. So this is all about heat cure acrylic resin. Okay, heat cure acrylic resin also can be of different kinds. Okay, by improving its physical mechanical property by adding some chemical, it can again be of two types. Okay, that is, number one is high impact strength resin. Okay, this is also a type of heat cure acrylic resin. So how it's different from heat cure acrylic resin? These polymers are similar to heat accelerated methyl methacrylate materials but are reinforced with butadiene styrene rubber. Okay, some chemical is added to the heat cure acrylic resin, that is butadiene styrene rubber, which will improve its physical mechanical property. Okay, the rubber particles are grafted to methyl methacrylate to bond to the acrylic matrix. These materials are supplied in powder and liquid form and are conventionally processed. So the impact strength of this material, that is high impact strength resin, is much more higher than your conventional heat cure acrylic resin. Another type or another modification of heat cure acrylic resin is rapid heat polymerized resin. How it's different from your heat cure acrylic resin? Hybrid acrylics with both chemical and heat activated initiators to allow rapid polymerization without the porosity that might be expected. These are polymerized in boiling water for 20 minutes immediately after being packed into a denser flask. After bench cooling to room temperature, the denser is deflaxed, trimmed, and polished in conventional manner. So to understand this, you might not understand this completely right now. For this, you to understand, you'll have to know how your polymerization is done, how your processing is done. Okay, and that is your compression molding technique. There is a technique that's called compression molding technique. Once you go through compression molding technique, you will clearly understand what is the difference between conventional heat cure acrylic resin and rapid heat polymerization resin. For now, what you just need to know is there is some chemical, because though it's heat activated resin, some chemical is also added, so it's dual in nature. There are two types of activator present on it. One is heat that you're going to provide and chemical that is already added in the formula. So the reaction would be very fast. Okay, that's why it's called rapid heat polymerizing resin. The time needed for the polymerization reaction is lessened by adding some chemical that will boost the reaction. This is called rapid heat polymerizing resin. So another is your chemically activated resin or autopolymerizing resin or your self-cure acrylic resin that will continue in next class. So very less time is remaining. So anyone want to ask any